some other ADA issues, that would be about $1.2 million. To fully build out the entire building was, I think, between $5 and $6 million. Does that sound right, Jonathan? And then if you were going to do something more involved and demoing out a lot of the building and starting over within the building shell, it'd be 11 or 12 million.
And does that include windows? Some of the windows?
Yeah, 11 and 12.
Repair
11 to 12 did. The windows are still in okay shape, but they appeared that the gas inside the windows had is gone, which could cause heating and cooling issues. That was not included in our $1.2 million estimate, I don't believe.
Your energy costs would go down if you replace the.
Yeah, if I said that wrong, that's what I was right.
So the total would be 5 to 6 or 11 to 12 million. It's the cost, and do we know how we would pay for that? Or where would that money come from?
Yeah, say that again.
You're saying that it could cost anywhere from 5 to 6 million, and total would be 11 to 12 million. And my question is, do we know where the money would come from to pay that? And would that cause a property tax increase? I'm just asking questions.
If we were gonna redevelop.
And is that on top of the 759 plus that we're discussing right at the moment? So in other words, it could be 12,759,000 or 6,759,000.
Okay.
Or is that included in that millions?
Okay, so, I'm gonna go back to your first question was, who's gonna pay for it and how much is that gonna be? That was your question. I had the chance to go to the school board. I think it's the school board's intention to at some point, do some due diligence, and take over the renovation costs. I'm not sure what the decision from, I don't wanna certainly speak for them on who's gonna pay the cost to purchase the building. But I think, and I don't, you can ask them directly, I think if they got the building, they would probably agree that the renovation costs, that they would bear all those, but I don't wanna speak for them.
Would you like to answer that or speak to that? Can you do that?
Certainly. Dr. Dyer, you've been requested to respond by Councilwoman McKenzie.
Yes, we have some information on that, and I'm going to ask Kyle Taylor, our Director of Operations, to speak to that now, because he lives in that world much more than I do.
Yeah, we took a look at that building, and I'm sorry, I don't know where some of the numbers are coming from. I know what we looked at. We went through, bathrooms have to be brought up to ADA, you're looking at the backflow, that has to be completely redone. Fire alarm sprinklers are obsolete, they'll have to be updated. You're looking at the lighting and the electrical, will need to be updating, the lighting's done. Elevators fixed, finishes, carpet, roofing, there's code changes that have taken place. And of course, there's gonna be unforeseen costs. The chiller is almost new, it was never hardly used, it was put on top of the roof. We paid for a chiller of its size, we paid $400,000 just about 2 years ago. The roof is in good shape, it's not new. I've heard somebody say it's new, it's not new, but it appears to be in good shape. In talking to the architect and engineers, we had limits on what we could look at. The building's in a stored condition, so all of the water has been drained out of the loop. And now all the mechanicals that were there that we could test, we tested. They were working, the air handlers and all that. Unless something drastic has happened, and there's no way to know that until we fill the building back with water, which you're not going to typically do until somebody purchases it, we are limited on what we can test. It is an all-electric building. However, it does have a cooling loop that could be converted into a heating loop, so a boiler system could probably be added to this building to help with utilities. It needs to to be have done. We estimated the 1.2, somewhat similar to what the city did, and architects would get you the building up and operable. That would not take care of finishes. Now then, the finishes, because it's been left and there's been moisture, the wallpaper is coming down. It needs to have the wallpaper stripped, it needs to be painted, it needs new carpet. You're looking at finishes, primarily, you could take and use the building the way it is. You could use the offices the way it is. Cosmetically, there is glass with the broken E. I'm gonna take exception with the city. Yes, the glass is energy, but the boiler system would be better money spent than the glass, because the boiler system would be cheaper than electric heat.
Yeah, we didn't include it in our cost, we agree.
Okay, but I'm just saying, there are things that could be done to do the building, okay? So that's where we are. Like I said, I can't give you exact prices. This is an educated guess. This is in talking with my architect and engineers that we use with the school system to do the projects that we do. And that's what we came up when we looked at it. Yeah, if we start doing glass and redesign, if we start tearing things out, yes, that's gonna take the price up drastically. But if we're talking about a building that we could actually get into and use in somewhat, it was an office building. So if we're talking about using it the way it is, and then adding into spaces that are not built out, because it has several spaces that are not built out. You could just build those out. You're not talking about doing a demo in those. So those aren't gonna be as expensive to build out. So just kind of make you aware, that's where we're coming from, in the numbers we were looking at. So, you know, given that what we've seen is what we've seen, again, we won't know until they're all in. But it's a very usable building, and it's been, for a building that's been stored for 10 years, it seems like it was, someone tried to take care of it, from what we've seen a year ago. We haven't seen it for a year, but at least last year when we looked at it, that's how it appeared.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Any questions for Mr. Taylor? Vice Mayor?
Yes, the Mayfield School, is that the light school we built in the city?
No, Candy's Creek.
Kansas Creek?
Right.
Okay, since I've been on council, I think we built about
Yeah.
4 or 5.
Right.
How much did it cost?
$15 million for Candy's Creek for roughly close to 100,000 square feet. We built it at $165 a square foot. Right now, the same school would cost you right about 300 a square foot, 250 to 300 square foot.
You know, I'm concerned because I just realized that, you know, we're still under $1 million and we're trying to decide whether we're gonna spend $1 million for additional space that I know would solve a lot of problems. I wouldn't know this if I hadn't been there and been to the administration building and walked out to the back, through the back to get to my car. And I had to watch where I was going because there were boxes sitting in there off the side desks in the administration office. And then when you look over where the desks and the cubicles are, there's boxes stacked up over there, containers sitting on top of lockers and stuff like that. I know that you need the space, and I know that you would utilize it real well. But I just wondering, do we want to spend $1 million, or do we want to spend 15 million, 14 million? To me, there's nothing any more important on my journey to where I'm at now than the education I received from teachers. And it started in elementary school. As soon as I got old enough to understand what they were saying, Avery, work hard, do your work, because things are gonna change. And I'm still stuck at that area, because I realize how much that changed my whole life. I wouldn't even be here today if it hadn't been for my teachers. So if we can spend $1 million, you know, 759,000, whatever it is, you know, I'm all for doing that. And I just wanted to clarify that because I know that we can get the job done, we can do what needs to be done, which might save us, because I mean, as fast as this community is growing, I know that we're gonna need another school in the next couple of years, probably. Yeah. And I know that you plan well because you have built schools in such a way that you left a lot of space, enough space to add on as much as you can. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that my colleagues, I didn't want to have to say nothing, Because I don't want nobody to think that I don't think that your thoughts are good thoughts. I know they're good thoughts. I know we're concerned about costs and everything. And a lot of you have a lot more detail. You understand it better than I do. But I know that there's nothing that's any more important to our children and our future than to make sure they got space to have a good education. You know, so that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilman Webb.
Hal, let's set the building cost and the renovations over here to the side.
Right.
Let's assume that we got lucky in $1 million. We got it in pristine condition. Have we looked at what it will do to the school board budget going forward? Because this is 48,000 square feet that you do not have now, that you'll be maintaining, cooling, heating, everything associated with owning 8 acres of property and operating this building. Have we looked at that?
I can tell you that the Denning Center has virtually no insulation. The AOB has no insulation in the ceiling, okay? I don't see that we're gonna trade out much of a difference because none of the systems in those particular 2 buildings, they're not like the rest of it. We have geothermal, we have gas systems everywhere else, we have chillers and stuff that save us a lot of money. Those 2 buildings are just general heating and air, gas equipment. And they have very poor insulation. Denning Center was 1961. It's all brick. And it's all brick and it's up top, and like I said, no insulation upstairs. We already spend a fortune on the Denning Center. I don't think, we're talking about only needing about 25,000 square feet initially. I don't think we'll have to take care of the whole building. We'll have to keep pipes from freezing, don't get me wrong, but we do energy management at the school system. We've saved over $9 million over 12 years in energy savings because we pay attention to that. Okay, that's something the school system has done. We are capable of doing that. We're one of the best in the state, and what I'm saying is, yes, we are looking at that, and I don't think you're gonna see that kind of expense on this building. As we take it over, we're gonna improve the energy management. We're not gonna use the whole building. We're only gonna use and keep up what we need to heat-wise. And I think we haven't been saving on the 2 buildings we have because, like I said, the insulation with those buildings are awful, so I don't think we're gonna see a tremendous increase in our operating costs because of that. I mean, if they were newer buildings, it would be different, but both of those buildings are pretty rough on them.
Is it designed now with zone systems for heating and cooling?
And in what, the Denning Center?
The Raider Drive building?
No. Well, yes, it is. It's designed, it has a antiquated energy management system. So it is already designed that with a STAFA system, which is out of business. So that would be one of the updated features we would need to do is bring a new energy management system into it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you, Dr. Denning. Councilwoman McKenzie, did you have a question? I said Denning, Dr. Dyer.
Okay.
I got introduced as Tom Rowland at lunch, so.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to be difficult, but in your letter says that y'all kind of willing to do this.
Right.
But then it also says that you're open to, it's not saying we definitely will do this. So, and that's where I have a pause.
Right.
That's what's bothering me about, this. I'd love to see the schools get it if it can benefit them, but that's where I have a problem.
Mr. Dr. Denning?
Dyer. Dyer.
I look-
Sorry.
I think I have a solution to this. May I jump in?
I'm sorry,
You have the solution,
trying to get your chair.
Vice Mayor Johnson, colleague Cassida, if you guys will withdraw your motion, I would like to make this substitute motion. That we offer the price $759 and change, if I've got the number here, I'm sorry, $759, $610.35. We pay the 2022 taxes. We pay all closing costs. We changed section 21 to March 1st. And that we only offer this contract if the city school board does 2 things. One, agrees, called me at the regular meeting and votes on to reimburse us full costs that it costs us at closing. And 2, pay us $18,000 a year in rent. that's city taxes on that property every year. That way, the building would be paid for. We only offer a contract to this LLC if the city school board says they will reimburse us for it, and we continue to receive the annual revenue we're getting on it currently through taxes.
Councilman Estes, pause, please.
Yeah.
Parliamentary, you are making a substitute motion,
Well, I was
but
asking.
I need to hear from Vice Mayor Johnson and Councilman Casta that they will withdraw their original motion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly what Doctor said.
Okay.
I'm willing to do that.
Okay, so I will cross out the Vice Mayor Johnson Casta motion. A substitute motion by Councilman Estes has been made. Ms. Brandon, I'm looking your way to see if you were able to get all of that.
I'm happy to repeat
All right. The,
It stays in the 759.16. Addition.
it. So, okay, we're in public here. Tell me why.
Okay.
I'm happy to, but tell me why.
I said I'd like to amend that,
Yeah.
his motion, Mr. Estes' motion, that it not include the 20, that it, we not pay in addition to the 759.610 something cents, the 2022 taxes, but that it be included in that price, because originally it said that it would include the taxes.
So we're not paying it, we're letting the school board pay it. So it's a total
Okay.
pass-through.
Okay.
We're not paying a lick. In fact, we're now with this motion, making 18 a year in perpetuity, forever and ever.
Is that?
No, that's not his call.
I can't make
You
an
know,
agreement for that,
what-
but if you pass that, I'll be
Okay.
glad to take that to the school board vote.
let me, parliamentary, I have a substitute motion. It has not been seconded. So until we have,
I'll second.
so that new substitute motion by Estes has now been seconded by Councilman Cassada. I can now open the floor, and the first person I heard was Councilman Hughes.
Well, Dr. Dyer,
Yes.
we can't do anything today then, because you're gonna have to take a school board, get approval, and
Councilman-
18,000 may not be the price.
Councilman Hughes, this was motion included the phrase until March the 1st. Approve this today contingent upon their action prior to March 1, so we would be taking action today.
That's the intent of my motion. That we offer that for the building only if city schools meet in public at their regular scheduled meeting and vote to reimburse us full cost and 18 a year.
And the contract agreement would expire March 1st.
Okay, 18 a year, they have it, the full building. They control the full building.
They're paying 18,000 a year for 45,000 square feet. Pretty good deal.
So here's how I came up with that. Let me explain how I came up with that, Councilman Hughes. We could take it and we could lease out the 45. There weren't 4 votes for that.
So,
Nope.
have
So
I
now
got
I'm
a deal for you today?
Yep.
Jesus. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so if we're not willing to do it, they're not paying a lease on Mayfield, but they're gonna pay a lease on this, at least we're not losing our taxes. We tried to get it where, where we could have it, and we could, and Mr. Five has said, 1.2 will fit it out perfectly, where we've got 45,000 square feet to lease out. It'll get it as good as any commercial real estate in this city.
But we're only leasing to the school board.
We're not leasing it. I mean, it's gonna, well, yeah, I guess we would with 18. So, but I'm back, no, my point is that if we're not getting in the commercial real estate business on Raider Drive, then let's let the school district get into it. We lose nothing at all. We
Now,
lose
that's good.
zero.
The school,
If they
the
want,
school
if they
board
wanna
should
get
buy
in,
it.
But
Buy it for,
buying it
for
through
the
us.
one.
They're buying it through us. Because the offer is to us.
All right,
in other
so,
words, they take care of all the renovations.
It's their call, and we're setting it in their lap.
Wow.
so we have a motion by Estes,
So-
seconded by Cassada. Councilman Hughes?
Yes, so we actually, we buy it and they buy it from us.
They reimburse us
I want
the
them to
cost.
have the
I think,
building.
Mr. Kimball, I think you're right, no, not you're right, but I think we have to own the actual property in the deed, the city does, correct?
Typically, school properties are titled in the name of the, excuse me, the municipality, the city of Cleveland, for the use and benefit of the Board of Education.
There you go. Same thing.
All right, so we have a motion by Estes, substitute motion, seconded by Cassada. We've had hearty discussion. Are there any other questions? Christie, are you clear? I'm glad one of us is. Mr. Clerk, I'd ask you to call the roll.
Councilman Estes. Aye. Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie.
Aye.
That carries 7-0.
Jeez.
Okay,
Same church.
Yeah.
that takes us to agenda item 9, which is reports from council members. But before I go to that, I would like to thank the council and our audience today for your patience and my testing of the Robert's Rules of Order. Whoever's got this on tape, I hope I did all that right. Councilman Estes, you're recognized for your report.
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Cassada.
Yes, Mayor, I've got, Tommy on Hicks Drive, are we gonna get that paved this year off Old Tasso? Will we get it paved this year? We have a industrial partner that invested $70 million in the city of Cleveland and also provided 140 jobs. And I got 400 feet of pavement that's been sitting there since 3 years that haven't been paved. Can we get it on the schedule this year? Joe, can I get your commitment on that? We'll get it done this year?
We'll try our best.
Are we not paving anything this year?
I don't have the schedule in front of me. I mean,
Okay.
If you want us to bring an answer back in 2 weeks, we're glad to bring you back an answer in 2 weeks.
I would like the answer in 2 weeks, please. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman May.
No, I don't have anything, Mayor.
Councilman Hughes.
Couple things, Mayor. First of all, the meeting today, Main Street, Cleveland, Sharon, was an excellent meeting. Mayor Brooks, you did a good job presenting the progress of our city.
Thank you, sir.
And Joe, answering questions. I noticed how the mayor ducked out when the questions came. But that was a good meeting and well done. I have a question for Kingden.
I had to come here, just for the record.
Absolutely, absolutely. The project that Mr. Sheehan's doing on Kingden, has he presented to either the planning commission or to the city on what he plans to do for the front of that property as far as trees and things of that nature?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, we don't have any plans on that one yet.
When does that come?
I guess when his engineer gets it all ready. We've had some phone calls from his engineer, asking questions, but nothing submitted yet.
Okay.
Nothing's gone to the planning commission or anything.
Right,
So
okay.
As soon as we do, we'll review it for, see if it meets our ordinance. As far as tree preservation, it'll have tree preservation because we have that in there.
Okay. I'd like to make a statement on HHM coming to town. We gave them a delay, actually they bought it from us for a very minimal amount. Terrible building, the Moore building with a lot of asbestos. And they had their opening the other night. That's a gorgeous building. And boy, did they do a good job of renovating that. So we're proud to have them. It's my understanding, talking with the owner, that they're gonna have 18 employees to start with, and then grow that number as the years go on. So we're proud to have HHM Accounting in our fair city. Thank you, Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Webb.
Councilman Hughes, can you imagine how exciting it would be to have 18 CPAs in one building? I had one pothole I wanted to inquire about. Tommy, we had a report last week about a pretty bad one somewhere around Duracell on Mouse Creek Road. Did we check that out?
Yeah, we're supposed to have gotten it.
Okay,
Yeah, I sent a crew out for it to get that.
all right, thank you for taking care of it. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Vice Mayor Johnson.
I have a question too, Joe. I was just wondering, the Brighton Boulevard, the additional light that I asked about, have you ready?
Christie gave me an
Everything
update
worked
on
out.
that that I can't remember.
So that
They have been upgraded.
would be good.
All done, all taken care of.
That's your pen, is it not?
It says Westmore. I think it must be yours.
Is it? No, you,
Anything further, Vice Mayor?
That's all.
Thank you. Councilwoman McKenzie.
Just quick update, Mayor, all the tires at exit 20 have been, cleaned up and gone,
Praise the Lord.
free of tires there.
That's a great update. Thank you, Councilwoman. And just in time from the discussion at 1. I would be remiss for not thanking Mr. Myers. We've all had you on our agenda today, but we had a call and your team showed up to a house that claims to have been skipped on brush and debris day, and your team arrived literally within an hour. And that is amazing customer service for our citizens and taxpayers. Sharon, I join Councilman Hughes in thanking you for today's meeting. I'm sorry we, third highest attendance in your 18 years. Let the record show. And I apologize, I didn't thank the staff at the time. I don't know if Corey is here, but Cody and the people who made, and Joe, the PowerPoint, all of that would not have been possible without hours of work. It's very easy for the guy with the clicker to go through and make it look very easy, but there was hours of preparation, and I'm grateful to all the people that worked together to make that happen.
Mayor, can we recognize, my colleague, Mrs. Kimberly Lyon? I totally goofed on that.
Absolutely, who've been patient in sitting here. I'm glad you did that. Would you please help me with their introduction?
Tell us who your class is, and what are y'all doing here?
Thank you. I thought I was gonna get out of this year. I'm Kim Lyon. I am associate lecturer in journalism at Lee, and so each year when I teach reporting and writing, our first assignment is a government meeting. And so today we are sending city council and the rest of the class is
Oh, my.
commission. And I don't know, it's a little more exciting than I thought it was gonna be. So we'll have some robust discussion. at our
My. What a homework assignment.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. Councilman Casta, you're recognized.
Yes, Mayor, I just want to make a brief statement to the public. This is my opinion and my feelings. After serving also on the school board, also like Mr. Johnson and Mr. Hughes as a principal, I feel that it's really, when it comes to bricks and mortars, it's the city or county's responsibility to pay for those funds, is not take funds out of schools for kids, education, training programs and stuff. This will impact that. We've always done that. Before I came on, I know Raider, the Raider building, the arena, council spent a lot of money on that. I don't think the schools put any on that, but with bricks and mortars, I want to be clear to the public and the school board too, that I do not support that the schools pay for bricks and mortars. I think it needs to come from the funding body, and that's the city needs to come from it. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments under reports from council members? Seeing none, that takes us to item number 10 on the agenda, which is new business and ordinances. 10A, Resolution 2023-7 is approving the pilot agreement with SK Food Group. It was in your packet on pages 7 through 9.
So moved.
Second.
That's a proper motion by Estes, properly seconded by Councilman Webb. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Estes.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilman Cassada.
Aye.
Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
aye.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. That carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item 10B, ordinance 2023-1, amending the municipal code Title 7, Chapter 2, Sections 7 through 204, which revises the International Fire Code 2018 edition Appendix D. It's in your packets, council members, from pages 10 and 11. This ordinance does require a motion from the council.
So moved.
That's a proper motion by Vice Mayor Avery Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Proper second from Councilman Cassada.
Yep.
Councilman
Mr.
Estes, you're-
Farkas, I just ask that you and staff look at this just one more time. It's just not landing well with me at 200. I don't know what the answer is, and I don't have a dog,
There's probably a couple more pieces of the story that we'll get with you and make sure you have a full level of information.
appreciate it. Yeah, before we vote next time.
Thank you. That's a proper motion by Johnson, proper second by Cassada. We've had discussion. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Aye.
Councilman Cassidy.
Aye.
Councilman Estes. Councilman May.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Webb.
Aye.
Councilwoman McKenzie. Carries 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. That motion passes. Takes us to item 10C. Mr. Fivas, I will defer to you. Discussion and possible modifications to employee recruitment.
We've had enough fun today, we'll bring that item back to another day.
All right, so that will be deferred to the next immediate open calendar. Takes us to item number 11, which is announcements. The next city council meeting will be held on Monday, February the 13th, 2023. Any further comments from the council?